Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So in the previous video, we added migration files and a model. And conveniently or unfortunately, I forgot something here, which is gender. So let's add that there. Okay. So gender, depending on how you want to do it, gender could be a variable character. Let's add that to the migration file as well. So I'm going to say gender. This could be variable character where you type the actual title or the actual name of the gender, or you could make it a tiny int to save space so that you put a number for each gender and then the system can interpret that. Either way is fine. We'll put a variable character of 6 like that. Then we can put we could put a default value here. If you want a default value, you can do it like default and then say male like that, but then you have to use double quotes on the outside, otherwise you get this error here. But let's leave it be the way it is. So gender, and yeah, you can add an index to that if you want, but I think it's fine like this. Okay, so which means also in the sign up page here we have to put provision for that. So what I'm going to do is just after name, first name, last name, we will put a select. Do we have floating if you go to Bootstrap, I don't think we have the floating version, but we'll check if it's there anyway. Okay, so what I want to do is put a select there, put some classes. This one we'll call it form select. There's one called form select, and then let's put options. The first one will be select. Maybe we'll say select gender, and let's put a value of emptiness, and then let's duplicate this. Here we'll have a value of male, and let's put one here as well, male. Duplicate, we have female. Okay, and let's do that as well. Alright, so that actually does it. Then we will need errors. In case we do have errors here, we will need to display them. So let me do this, and let's change that to gender, and of course we need to give this guy a name, gender. Alrighty then, let's see how that has changed our view file here. So let's refresh, resend regardless. Okay, so there it is, select gender. Now you could round it off like we did with the others. Let's see, we can put a style instead. Wait, what did we put on these guys actually? Border radius. So let me grab that. Let's come here. Border radius 40 pixels. Let's add a bit more padding, I guess. I hope that's enough. I just want it to match the others a little bit. Okay, so there it is. Maybe that padding is a little less than it should be. Let me refresh that. Okay, I think, yep, that works. Now, to run migration files, we can either select the very specific file that we want to run, or we can just tell it to run all migration files that are within the basic Auth plugin. So let's try that approach of running everything. Then when we create another one, we're going to see how to run just that specific one. So we're going to say PHP thunder, and then we'll say migrate, and we'll use basic Auth like that, and then press enter, and it is migrating with an error. So we get a chance to fix stuff. So the error is within the file itself on line 56. So I may have missed something on line 56 right here. So it's saying that, oh, so it's missing a semicolon there. So put that on your migration file and let's retry. Okay, so press enter. All right, so we have a problem again. Undefined variable data on line 72 in migration.php. Okay, so let's see what we get. Did we get a table at all? Okay, so the table was created. I think it just didn't add the seeding data, because I think this part that has an error is for seeding data. So line 72, let's go ahead and fix that. So migration file, which is inside main models migration, line 72, which is right here. So it doesn't know what data is, and let's try and see if that's actually true. 13 to, okay, so that's the table. So we were supposed to say this data. Sorry about that. Boom. Okay, so that's one thing there. So what I'm going to do is run the command again, but let me, actually the command will run even though the table exists, because we have an if statement that says if not exists, so it will check for that. So let's press F3 and let's run that again. So no given on line 74. Okay, so we are giving a no value, array keys, what is rows? Yeah, that's weird. Let's remove that row. Okay, I think that's about it. Let's try again until it works. So F3 again. Okay, so it seems to have worked this time. So let's go back and see if we have some data in here. And as you can see, we do have some data. We've seeded some data in here, which is awesome. But what about date created? We didn't put anything there, so we need that as well. So I'm going to come back to my migration file right here and add date created like that. And we're going to set that into, going to say date like that, and then put a format, YMD space capital H full colon IS. Okay, so there it is. So what I want to do now is delete this table from, so I'm going to drop this users table. I want it to create that again. I'll come back here and I'll just copy this command that I had done, copy, and clear the screen, paste that command. Let's try one more time. Okay, at least now we know what's going on. So migrating file, table user success, data inserted successfully, great. So let's go back and check this time to see what we've got. So we have a users table, everything is good. We have a date this time, which is awesome. And the first name and last name, email address, great. Right, so we can actually log in now because we do have those details. But let's fix the sign up process first. At least now we have a table, so that is good. So now what we will do is, let's go, we are in the plugin itself, basic auth, and we go to the sign up controller. So at the sign up controller here, I know this only runs when we sign up, so I'm gonna say I want to grab the data. Let's verify data. So we'll say user is equal to new user. Now the thing is, somebody asked me that would it be a good idea to put what are these namespaces for these as well? Yes, different namespaces here that correspond to a plugin, because it's very possible another plugin could have the users class. That is very true. That can actually happen. So in that case, what you can do is for every every model that you create, you change the namespace here. So the namespace, for example, for this particular one could be something like basic auth, like that. So these are easy things to change. You say namespace basic auth, which keeps the class within this basic authentication system. So that's that. But now we have this problem of model here, which is in the model namespace. So if I try to run this, it will fail because it can't find that. And in this situation, what you have to do is say use model. Let's put a slash like that. Yes. And a semicolon. So that way we are importing model from the models, the main model from the model namespace. That way we can use it here. Meanwhile, user can use basic auth. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Now we can create a way for this to be automatic, which would be good. Maybe we can do that in the next video, or we could just do it here. This is really just the folder name. So what you can do is when you are in the thunder.php here, what you can actually do is there's a part here that where we are making a model. Where is this? It's right here. Make model. So when we are replacing this stuff, you can add one more thing here, which you can say namespace, like that, right? Namespace like that, and then we replace from the content, but instead of class name, we're going to use the folder name. So that's the original folder, like that. But then we're going to do a string replace here. So this can get a little complex. What to do. Okay, so first of all, let's do this. I'm gonna say namespace, let's call it namespace, is equal to string replace. Okay, so let's do a string replace. What we are searching for is a dash, and let's replace that with a space, and we are replacing that in the original folder, like that. Okay, then once that is done, we again do something to namespace. So namespace is going to be UC words, so that every word is capitalized now. Okay, UC words namespace. And then once we do that, finally now we do another string replace. So in this one, we are replacing any space with nothing. Okay, in namespace. And then we put namespace here, like so. Okay, so we've replaced the namespace as well. Now we just have to add that to the sample. So I'm going to copy that, and let's go to the samples, and in the model sample, right about there, we will put the namespace instead, like so. Okay, great. That is awesome. We will test this a bit later when we create another model, but for now we'll use that. So let me copy this namespace we've added, and I'm going to go to here. So here we will say basic auth user, like that. Okay. All right. And we have our request. Let's see, we are signing up. So all I want to do here is say user insert, and then let's insert the data that was sent, which is in the request post, like that. But instead we want to verify the user's data first. So we say if user verify, is it verify or validate? It's validate insert, and let's grab exactly this, put it here. Okay, so if everything goes well, then we insert. For some reason I prefer these things to be slightly off the edge. Okay, so once we insert, then we can redirect to the login page. Now again, instead of saying login page here, we will do this and use the variable. So I'm gonna do that and say vars, like this. Okay, so we redirect to the login page, and let's see, we validate insert, and after that we just insert. It's as simple as that, but we need to add extra data within this. So I'm gonna do data is equal to that, like so. That way I can manipulate that data. Let me call it post data, just so we are very specific here. Post data, and I want to add things like date created to add values, because those are not coming from the form. So here we'll do date, like that, and then ymd HIS, like that. Okay, and then also at the same time we will need to encrypt the password. So encrypt the password here, and I'm going to do password hash, of course, and we will grab post data password and put it here. All right, that does it. So we have our password, we have that. Also on the verify here, let me go back to user. Here where we are validating, we need to validate if the passwords actually are the same. So I forgot about that. So let me grab this. Boom. First of all, we need gender. Gender is required. And then secondly, we need to match the passwords. So let me grab this, say password. If empty, password. A password is required. All right, and then we'll do an else here. So in this one we will compare the password let's compare this one. So say data password, data retype password. Let me remove one of the brackets. Okay, so if this is not equal, and we will say passwords, what do you say here? Passwords do not match. Alrighty then. Very good. So password, gender, passwords must match. If empty, password is required. Great. So I'm going to grab this and let's take it down to the edit. But we will change a few things because in the edit, gender is required, but password isn't. So if password is empty, that's fine. Let's just do if not empty password, and then let's remove this part here. And we will do another if statement in there like so. So we only care if the passwords match, if the password already exists. If it doesn't exist, we ignore it and not change the old passwords. That's for when you're editing let's say you're editing a profile or something like that. That would come in handy. Okay, so now on this sign up controller here, if it happens that our validation failed at this point, we're going to set value. So here we'll say set value, and where we are setting the value is inside errors. And what value are we setting? We're setting the user model. Whatever errors it has, we're going to supply them there like so. Okay, good. That way if there are some errors, we'll have those. Alrighty then, that should do the trick. So to start with, let me just click sign up here without touching anything else. I'll just click sign up. Okay, so access level to primary key must be public, as in class model. Right. So in model here, primary key is public. Yeah, so that's one thing I forgot. Wait. So here we said protected, right? But primary key must be public. So because we need to be able to change it from the outside. So we put it public there. So which means we have to change our sample as well as we go to match those things. That way we don't have these errors in future. All right, so let's refresh and resend. Okay, so at least you see now we get all these errors. Gender is required, password is required, and by the way, on the gender thing here, signup.php, I didn't actually put the old value here. So what I need to do here is say old select, and the key is gender. But then here we have to put something that matches, like male and female. Okay, something like this. So with that, I select male. Let me see if it will maintain that on the refresh, and it does. Here, let's try put my name. Now, if I put a space within that last name and try again, it will say only letters with no spaces allowed in last name. Okay, so let's not put some spaces. Let's put an email address that makes sense. Email.com. I want to try an email that already exists. Let's see what we get. Okay, so there we have an issue. Okay, so variable limit, undefined variable limit on line 42. Okay, so let's go find that out. In model.php, that's line 42. There we go. It's telling me that limit is not known, and that's because we didn't use this keyword. So let's do that instead. I'm going to grab this part here. Let's put that there. Boom. Okay, great. Hopefully there are those at the top. Yes, they are. So now let's refresh and resend. Okay, so undefined array key 0 on line 55. So let's check that out again. Line 55. If not empty rows. So we did grab something, but then row 0 is not a thing. Why is that? Okay, I think I actually know. No, do I? I don't think I do. So in this case, let's check out what's inside rows. what do we get really? So let's do that to figure it out. So refresh and resend. Okay, so this is where the issue is. We're supposed to go into result because this is done after the query function. Okay, so this is a little bit of a problem. Why does it return this? This is not what it's supposed to return at all. Okay, so I'm going to remove this. Let's go back to database.php and look at our let's see, our query function. So the query function returns result, which is tainted by this part here. The only reason we created all of this and put result is go to do filter array. No. Okay, see what's happening here. So what we need to return is result, not any of that stuff we added that's extra there. So actually send array and returned that. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, so let's do result like that. Return result like this. That's what we should add there. Alrighty then. Let's refresh, resend. Okay, so return value must be of type array or bool. A class was returned, an object was returned instead. So, which is true here. Let's go back to that model.php. So everything we are doing here is, at the same time as we are creating a plugin, we are making sure that our framework is working as intended. So instead of array and bool, since this will always return just one result, it means it will always return an object. So instead of array here, let's put object like that. Now, if you're having issues where you can't use the pipe over here, you're getting errors there, you can simply use mixed instead, like so. Alright, so let's try and see what will happen this time. I will refresh and everything seems to be working as intended. Okay, so that says that email is already in use. Okay, so that part is working. Let's put email 2 instead here, and let's click sign up, and a password is required. Let's put a password, and let's see what error we get now. Passwords do not match, and this time I will put password here. So I think all the errors have been cutted for, and at this point it should actually sign up and redirect me to the sign up page or the login page. Now, while it's doing that, let me come back to the sign up controller. While it's doing that, before it redirects, let's send a message. Let's say message like so, and then we're going to say within that message we'll say sign up complete. Please log in to continue, like that. So we put that message. This message is saved inside the session. Okay, so this is all the code we need in the controller here. And let me go back to the, before I even click that page there, let me go back to the login view. I want to fix this part here so we can see the error when it comes. So here I'm going to say this is for a message, so I'm going to say if, in fact maybe let's do success here, but this is weird. Sometimes it can be success, sometimes it depends. Anyway, so we say if, let's put some PHP tags, if message, right? We want to figure out if there is a message somewhere. So if message, then let's do this, and if. So if there is a message, great, let's echo it. So I'm going to grab this and put it here, and let's paste that like so. Okay, so there is the message. I don't know, you may want to escape the message as well. Alright, but we want to delete it once we show it. So we put an empty message there and then put true for delete. Alrighty then. Now, yeah, I think this will work just fine. So on that note, let me click sign up and boom. Then we get to the login page and it says sign up complete. Please log in to continue. You can put whatever message you want. Now, if I refresh this page, I won't see that message anymore, which means everything worked as intended. If I refresh, I should see a second account here. But look at the password. It did not get encrypted at all. So let's figure out why. And I'm sure even the date does not exist. Yep, just as I thought. So what I'm going to do is delete this record. And then I'm going to come back to my controller. Let's fix a few things. So we added these things in the post data, right? But then we went ahead and inserted this instead. So let's insert the post data and all problems are sorted. So back again to sign up. Let me put what I had put. Okay, so password as well. Password, and then let's click sign up. Okay, so that email is already in use. Let's put 2. There we go. And if we check now in our table, you will see that our password is encrypted and the date exists as well. Everything is set properly. So that's how we sign up. In the next video, let's do a login.